All right, reading and writing decimals. Okay, when we read decimals, we do it in 4 steps. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to read the number before the decimal, just like you normally would have read it any other time. After you read the number before the decimal or to the left of the decimal, you're going to say the word "and" in place of the decimal. Step 3. You're going to read the number after the decimal, just like you would by itself, as if the decimal weren't there. And then the last thing is you're going to say the place value. I abbreviate place value with PV. You're going to say the place value of the digit that is farthest to the right. And so as an example, the first thing we're going to say or read is the number to the right of the decimal. Sorry, to the left of the decimal. Okay, so how would you read that number? Simply? Okay, 2,000. Next, we're going to say the word "and" in place of the decimal. Now we're going to say the number to the right of the decimal. That is simply 14. And then the last thing, we're going to say the place value of the digit farthest to right. That is what place value? Thousand. Bless you. The key is, since it's to the right of the decimal, make sure we add the THS. If we go in reverse, we go in reverse. We have 4,201 and 32,000. So we want to write the number that is before the decimal, or before the word and. And so we're going to write 4,201. In place of the word and, we're going to put a what? A decimal. Next, we're going to read the number to the right of the decimal. That is simply 32. And then the last thing, we have to make sure that the last digit is in the thousands place. Okay, right now, what place value is that 2 in? Demerit? It's in the hundredth. So we want to make sure that that 2 is in the thousands place. So what do we need to do? Put a 0 before the 3. And now that 2 is in the thousands place. Okay? A common mistake. You don't need to write this down. But if you had that, a common mistake is people want to put a 0 behind it. But now when you read that number, what is that number? 320. We wanted 32. And so you can't just put the 0 behind it. Okay? So, that's reading and writing decimals. Now, the second part that you're going to have, you just put it down right below this. Is expanded form. If we take the same number we had, 2,063 and 1,400. We start with the digit that's in the largest place value. That would be which digit? Aiden? Okay. So we're going to start with the 2. What place value is the 2 in? Henry? So the value would be what? If you have a 2 that's in the thousands place, it would be 2,000. Next, we have a 0. Now, sometimes you're going to see the 0 there. Sometimes you won't. Next, we have a 6. It's in what place value, Henry? Or, not Henry, sorry, Sammy? So the value would be? Next, we have a 3. In what place value, Cadence?
1.
So the value would be? Simply 3. Once again, we have a 0. Sometimes you'll see it, sometimes you won't. Then we have a 1. The 1 is in what place value, Jaden? So the value would be 100. And then finally, we have a 4. The 4 is in what place value, Demary? And so the value would be? 4,000. Very good. Okay, so that is one way that you're going to see expanded form. Now, a second way that you may see expanded form is where they take the digit times its place value. So you might see it written like this, 2 times 1,000 plus, I'm going to get rid of the 0, 6 times 10 plus 3 times 1 plus 1 times 100 plus 4 times 1,000. And so that's the second way you may see it. And then a third way you may see it with the numbers to the right of the decimal, instead of writing it as a decimal, they may put it as a fraction, which would be 1 times 100 plus 4 times 1,000. So you may see it like that as well. And then, if I give you this one as another example for expanded form, if they ask you to write that in standard form. First, we're going to start off with the 5. That 5 is in what place value? Landon?
1,000.
Okay. After the 1,000 comes what place value, Cody? After the 1,000 comes what place value? 100. Is this 6 in the hundredth place? No. So what goes in the hundredth place? A 0. Okay, a lot of times people will forget to put that 0 there. After the 100 now comes what place value, Cody? And what's going to go in the 10th place? A 6. After the 10th comes what place value, Libby? After the 10th comes what place value? The 1s, is that 9 in the 1's place? Yes. After the 1's place comes what? Some people would say a decimal. Okay. And then after the decimal comes the 10th. Is that 8 in the 10th place? Yes. So we're going to put the 8 there. After the 10th comes what place value, Carolyn? 100. Is that 7 in the 100th place? No. So what goes in the 100th place? A 0. Then after the 100th comes what place value, Henry? And is that 9 in the, sorry, is that 7 in the 1,000th place? Yes. And so now, if we were to read that number, first we would break it into the 4 parts. The number before the decimal is what? Class? 5,069. Second thing we say is the decimal, which we say, and after the decimal we have what number? 807. Now what place value is that 7 in? And so it would be 5,069 and 807,000. Okay? Questions about that? So, we have standard form, which is how we normally see the numbers written. We have word form, which is writing them out. And then we have expanded form. Okay? Any questions? Okay, let's get out your whiteboard. Is there anybody missing a marker? Because there was one that was on the floor. Okay. The first thing I want you to do on your board, I want you to write any, you need a marker? I want you to write any number in which the 9 has that value. I don't care what number you write, but the 9 must have that value. Go ahead. Any number you want to write, but the 9 must have that value. place value must the 9 be in? The 10th place. And so it doesn't matter what you put, 1 and 9 tenths, as long as that 9 is in the 10th place. Okay, erase it. Write any number so that the 3 has that value. Good, good. Nice one, Henry. Good, 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 good. Not quite. Good, 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 good. Which one? I don't know which one. Not quite. Good. 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 What place value must the 3 be in? Carolyn? The 100? So it doesn't matter what you put. 429 and 2300. That 3 just has to be in the 100th place. Any number which the 5 has that value. Good, good. 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 Oh, that's a decimal. Okay, good. I think that's good. I don't see a decimal. Good, good, good. Okay? Good. The 5 has to be what place value? Last, the 100, so 2,596 and 384,000. Just so that 5 is in the 100th place. Okay? Question about that? Okay, so that's going to be the first part of your assignment. The second part of your assignment. $3,000, 26, and 54,000. Write that in standard form. Good. You don't need to write that whole thing out. Just write the answer. Good. 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 Okay, so if we break it into our 4 parts, we have our 3,026. Second part is the answer, we put a decimal. Third part is the 54. And now that 4 is to be in the thousandth place. Right now it's in the hundredth. So we put the 0 there. Okay? Do this one. $3,800. Good, 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 good. Good. Not quite, Michaela. Now, in this situation, the key is this. We have the THS. Anytime you see THS, you know that we have a what? A decimal. The problem is we don't have the word and. When you know you have a decimal but you don't have the word and, you know that everything here is to the right of the decimal. So, we have our 38. Now we just have to make sure that it's in the hundredths place, which it is. Okay, Michaela? Questions about that? That's going to be the second part of your assignment. Then, the third part of your assignment. Write this in expanded form. Okay, so write that one in expanded form. Check the value of the 3, Rebecca. Good. Check the value of your 2, Cody. I think you just made I think you were just through there. Good. Good. Okay. Okay, so there's 2 different ways that we can, actually there's 3 different ways we can do this. First, if we just do the value of each digit, we start with a 3, it's in the thousands place, so we have 3,000 plus. Now, if you want to, you can put a 0. Okay, you don't have to. Then the 2 would be a 20, and then the 6 would be 6. The 4 would be 410. We can put a 0 if we want to. And then the 8 would be 800. The other way we can do it is take it times its place value, so 3 times 1,000 plus 2 times 10 plus 6 times 1 plus 4 times 110 plus 8 times 1,000. And then we could also put it with the decimal as fractions, where we'd have 4 times the fraction 1/10 plus 8 times the fraction 100. 8 times the fraction is 100. I'm sorry, 1,000. Okay, so you can do it that way as well. Okay, questions about that? Let's do one more real quick. Write this one in standard form. Write that one in standard form. Check yours, Henry. Let me check the one. Let me see it again, Henry. You're okay. Let me see yours, Carolyn, again. Good. Good. Cody. You're okay. Good. Check yours, Cadence. Good. 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 Good, I believe. Good. Check your 1. Hard to say? Go. There you go. Okay, so we start off with the 8. The 8 is in the thousands place. After the thousands comes the 100. We don't have anything. We put a 0. After the hundreds comes the 10. That is a 4. After the 10s comes the 1s. We have nothing. After the 1s, we put a decimal. Then we have the 10. that 1 is not in tenths, we put a 0. Then comes a hundredth, we have a 1, and then a thousandth, we have a 9, and it should look like that. Any questions? Everybody comfortable with it? Okay, your homework. Yeah.
What is that? See, now he's drawing
Okay, if you look at your homework, question number 1 is just like what we did for today, where they give you 2 numbers and they want you to put them in the correct place value on the chart. Then for questions 2, 3, 4, and 5, using the numbers that they gave you, which number fits the questions for 2, 3, 4, and 5? Okay? And then 6, 7, 8, they want you to write them in the different forms that they tell you to. On the back, just write them in standard form. And then number 17, what's the expanded form of it? So questions 1 through 17. Go ahead.